So you've created, I'm assuming it's a non-for-profit foundation.
Correct.
And you call it Knockout Cancer. I mean, that's just brilliant. I just want to say I'm like acknowledging you. How great. Tell us about it.
So my background is boxing, so knockout comes with that. And then I had cancer, and so knockout cancer, they go well together.
Yeah.
And then the whole idea is behind my fundraisers that sets us apart from, I think, other organizations is we give the money directly to the recipient. We don't give it to the research, to cancer, to doctors, to hospitals. We give it directly to them.
And who is them?
Somebody who has cancer.
Okay,
So
help me out.
one of the first years the first year I did the event, the person he used his money to put a roof on his mobile home. The second year we did this, the gentleman wanted to take his family to Secret Santa, or Santa's workshop in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
He in his interview, he said that's his goal, is to make it to that, and he passed away before we did the event. So the money that we gave his family, they took the trip to Santa's workshop.
If you're within the sound of my voice, you are watching or listening to the Sterling Spin. My job is to engage with you today so that you will live, learn, and experience something new, something that will touch your heart. And that's why in my studio is someone who has worked hard his life to make a difference and now makes a difference for others. I'm Liz Sterling, and sitting next to me is Shane Swartz. He is a former pro boxer, two-time Golden Gloves national champion, and he was trained by his father at a very young age. With over 200 amateur fights, Shane has built a legacy of grit and determination. And today, he'll channel that same spirit into something that he developed, something that helps others, something that gives children a chance. We'll find out about that story. And we'll also find out about the fundraising event that Shane has coming up on May 31st. It's called Knockout Cancer. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
We met because someone said, "You don't know this guy who you're talking to, do you?" And I was like, "No, I don't know him. I mean, I'm standing in a store and he's standing next to me." And he's like, "He's a champion, man. He's someone who makes a difference in the world." I think that was a friend of yours who introduced us.
Tanner, yes, he introduced us.
Yeah, and I'm really glad he did. I guess the first thing about becoming a champ is you have to show up.
Very true, yes.
Yeah. So can I call you calling me champ, or I'm going to call you champ?
I'm most often called coach now.
Okay.
And I refer to you guys as champs.
Okay.
Life's tough right now for a lot of people, and just getting out of bed is a challenge in itself. Meeting your financial needs, work requirements is all a challenge. So when you get there, you actually overcome and you do what you're supposed to do. I consider that being a champion.
So you were a champ, and now you are a coach.
Yes.
And people who are watching right now, they are the champs. And what you're saying is, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, you got to get up, you got to go do it. So you're going to be their coach too today.
Perfect.
Perfect? That's a plan?
Yeah.
All right. Let's roll the clock back and start with your dad, because I understand that your father trained you, But he was kind of a tough guy. I mean, he didn't make it easy for you. Tell us what happened.
When I started boxing when I was 4 years old, my dad took me to the gym and told me to jump rope. And jumping rope as a 4-year-old is quite the challenge. And then my first match was when I was 5 years old. And now I have to be 8 years old, but I started competing when I was 5. And I liked it because it was a challenge. It was time with my dad. But I liked hanging out with the older kids mostly. My dad was a tough farm boy from Nebraska. And he basically just told me to try harder, work harder, do everybody harder than everybody else. So much so we'd wake up at 5, 6 in the morning, and I'd go on runs every morning, and he'd follow me behind the car.
Wow.
To make sure I was running.
This was when you're like 5 and 6 and 7 years old?
My dad made me run a half. He encouraged me to run a half marathon when I was 7 years old.
7 years old, half marathon, 13 miles.
I consider it child abuse now, but
I think we would too. Your story is very interesting because I interviewed Earl Woods, and he shared with me a little bit of his raising Tiger. And his book was called To Training a Tiger. And I interviewed him, and he did something very similar with his own son. He really, really worked him hard. But he saw something in him, and he wanted to cultivate it. And he was a Navy SEAL, and so he was like tough and disciplined and diligent and certain. Was your dad like that too?
he's very, very matter of fact. No beating around the bush. He knew what he wanted and had high expectations of me and my sisters, and we didn't have a lot. So one thing you do have is effort, right? Everybody can go out there and try.
Right.
And as long as you put forth the effort, you can accomplish a lot more, even more so than what you think you can.
Do you think that you intrinsically were interested and attracted to boxing, or was it like implanted or put on you, or was it a little of both?
So I used to train 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, and then on Saturday we'd travel someplace to compete. So I did, and because my dad was a coach, we trained probably 40 weeks out of a year. So it was invested and instilled in me to do it and work hard. And I liked it when I was between 5 and 10 years old. So then I started not liking it, or not. I'd probably butted heads with my dad quite a bit. But then when I was 15 years old, I won a spot at the National Junior Olympics in Marquette, Michigan. And that was the first national title I won. So then I figured I was pretty good, and to continue.
So then it came from you. So it's both. It's like both ends, you know.
Right.
First your dad pushed you, then you were like, nah, not working for me. But then you came back to it on your own, especially when you saw that you could be a champion.
Correct. Yeah.
And so you moved forward from there. So in those years, and I heard you say earlier, you've had like a total of 300 fights, and 200 of them are registered as amateur fights. So there's amateur, there's professional.
Interrupt you real quick?
Please tell me.
Politely correct you.
Absolutely.
They're not fights; they're boxing matches.
Thank you so much for correcting me, because I think I represent the conditioning of many people. And I don't know if it's men, women, both. I looked at boxing as two people fighting. And clearly, there's something else that's happening. Can you bust up the myth that that's fighting and tell us about what a boxing match is?
So fighting is what you see on the street or in the bar. That's fighting.
Right.
Not a lot of skill set, no planning, no preparation. You just throw and you hope you land. In boxing, the sport of boxing, you condition your body, you train, you condition your mind to learn the craft and try to perfect the skill set to outwork your opponent. A lot of people think you have to hurt them. It's not so much about hurting them. It's about playing a mental mind game, chess game of who can land more shots more times and more effectively than your opponent.
So, I mean, you do have to bring the opponent down, or they have to get knocked out. They have to hit the ground. How does it work in boxing? Like I know wrestling, and I've watched that, and it's a different type of art. So do a little more defining the difference of what you're doing.
There's how you score boxing is different based off of it being an amateur boxer and a professional boxer. Amateur boxer is more about points, landing shots. Anything from your forehead to your waist and your shoulders is considered the play of field. You have to land a shot in the play of field, and it's literally just I don't want to say touching, but having my glove touch your body scores a point.
Okay.
In pro boxing, there's more weight, more value, more emphasis on power. So if I hit you 3 times and you hit me one hard time, you win the exchange. That's a very, very general example.
And is it subjective? Like, is it the referee who's like, that one was harder than those 3, so that one gets the point?
That's why boxing
That's
is so
tough.
challenging, because if you play basketball and you score a basket, it goes through the hole. That's a point.
Right.
I mean, you know that. But if I hit you, there's 4 sides of the ring. The judge on the right side may not see the point, but the guy on the left side or gal sees it. It's a point. So it's very subjective, yes.
Very, yeah. And maybe not always fair.
It's not. There's a lot of dispute, to put it lightly, a lot of disagreements about if it's fair or not.
Right. So you remained an amateur throughout your entire life and did not or did go into professional boxing?
So I won 6 national titles as an amateur boxer. I was picked to be the Olympian, but I lost in the Olympic box office in 1996 in Oakland, California. And after I did not make the Olympic team, I turned pro. I had 24 pro fights. 1994, I won the national title. 1995, I was boxing in the Goodwill game, or the Pan American box office up in Portland, Oregon. And I competed against a guy that I beat 3 times earlier. And this time I lost. And then the next day, my dad died. My dad was obviously my dad, but he's also my coach. He invests a lot of time in me. So it was very, very, very tough to continue it. And I will admit that I didn't behave responsibly or properly or professionally or as I grew out of my amateur career, because I didn't have a dad. I didn't have a focus. I didn't have anybody tell me what to do. So
if I wanted to come to you as a coach right now and representing the people who are watching, who are also acting out, who haven't been able to find the place to gather themselves or pull themselves together after a difficult loss or something that they've experienced in their life. So, Coach, do me a favor and tell them what they can do, because you learned the hard way. What can someone do when they've had that kind of a loss and they're lost?
I'll probably say this many times in this interview, but never, ever give up. It's not an option. It's not an option to give up, because if you do, you're letting life win. You're letting the devil win. And as much as I hated hearing it, it's the only remedy, and it's time. Spend time with family, spend time with your loved ones, and even if they're part of the root cause, maybe you're part of your root cause is your family.
That could be the case if you're talking about family. I love my family.
Find a friend who you can invest in. You know?
So who was it who helped pull you up and bring you out of that, behavior that you're not very proud of right now, although you chose to admit it, which is a big, responsible thing to do?
There's my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Den, helped me out. My best friend, Marcus, we became friends when he was a kid. My family, a lot of people helped me out. And it's during my struggles, my dad was my coach, my dad, my friend, and he kind of told me what to do. So I was completely absent from him.
Right.
So I didn't listen to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. We're going to find out in a minute who you listen to. Let me let everyone know how grateful I am that you're here, that you're listening to the Sterling Spin. I'm Liz Sterling, and I'd love for you to please subscribe. Once you're a subscriber, hit the little bell, which will notify you that we've dropped a new show. Every Sunday, a new show drops, and we come right from this studio. I'm so grateful that you're joining us. Also, sponsors are really important to keep us going, and you may be able to sponsor and help us to produce the show. So if so, please contact me at my email address. It's sterlingspin@gmail.com. And maybe you have a story, because that's what we love. We love learning from you, from people who have stories, who've learned the hard way, but have picked themselves back up. So if you've got a story to share, please, again, sterlingspin@gmail.com. Send it to me. With me is Shane Swartz, and he is producing a fundraising event on May 31st in Fort Collins. And he's going to tell us more about it. But I want you to have the contact information. You'll see it on the screen. There's a tiny URL as well as a phone number, 303-941-1076. So who told you? Like, who finally, what part of you? What I want people to know is, if they don't have someone to turn to and they're lost and they don't have the motivation and they need some help, where can you find it within yourself to find that strength to pick you back up? And is that what you had to do when you were boxing too?
So I have faith in Jesus Christ and the Lord and Savior, but I've also spent a lot of time in AA because of my addiction, because of my dad's loss. In AA, they refer to it as a higher power. I call my higher power Jesus, but it's reaching out to somebody, to the higher power, and not investing in them, but then not giving up on yourself, because we are worth it.
We are worth it. Yeah. You bet we're worth it. So you had pulled yourself together, went to AA, got in touch with Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, discovered your higher power, was able to lift yourself back up, and went back into the ring, and had many more boxing matches. You like how I said that?
Yeah,
I'm teachable. Okay. Many more boxing matches. Some you won, some you didn't. But then you really had the biggest, and this one I'll say, fight of your life.
Yes.
All right. So tell us what happened.
So as I retired in, I think, 2009, I became a coach, and I've coached boxers over the years. And one of my boxers, I took him to Denver to spar, which is practicing, fighting, competing. And he didn't have anybody to spar against. So like a true coach, I went in there and sparred with him. And when I went home that day, I had a big lump on my throat, and went to the doctor. They thought it was a clogged salivary duct. It wasn't that. So then I went back to get a biopsy, and it ended up being cancer.
Wow.
That's
out of nowhere. I mean, it seemed that.
Yeah, it was definitely out of nowhere.
Yeah.
The doctor first thought it was a sunflower seed. Then he thought it was a clogged salivary duct. And it just rolled into it really, really fast. And next thing you know, 2 days later, 3 days later, I had cancer, which is obviously nobody likes to hear.
No, nobody likes to hear that they have cancer. And so what skills that you had developed in the boxing ring did you apply toward having to deal with that diagnosis?
You have to, just the mental toughness, like when you're going into a boxing match, you don't know. I'm a skinny white kid from Fort Collins boxing these veterans, Army, Navy, Air Force people who are big, strong, 26, 27 years old, and it's very, very intimidating, like cancer is. And it doesn't matter what color, what race, how much money you got. Cancer is non-discriminatory, so it's you have to fight back and give up and not give up. So I looked at my battle with cancer just like a training camp, and there's gonna be good days and bad days, days that you don't want to wake up, to get up, to move on, but at the end of it, there's always a trophy. Mm-hmm. And my trophy was my family.
Mm-hmm. I saw you get a little more emotional there for a second. Like you're still. It was a number of years ago, but you're still pretty close to it. What is it that's still there?
It's been 5 years since I was diagnosed with cancer, but I can still recall how tough it was. Like when you went to bed, you just hope you woke up in the next morning, you know. And I posted on social media one time, pray if it's your last prayer.
As if
And
it's your last. Right.
And
right.
I challenge everybody to do that, just because it really it's very much an eye opener, and it's because many times I went to bed, I didn't know if I was going to wake up.
Wow.
So,
How long was that battle, in which you went through and had your family support? Obviously,
I'd probably say 9 months to a year.
that's a long time.
I had radiation 5 days a week for 7 weeks straight, which was pretty rough. And then chemo I had every month, and my body didn't do well with the chemo. And the reason why I get emotional is because my name of my boxing gym is Knockout Cancer Boxing Club, and I've got a fundraiser, and I'm still trying to help those get through it, just like I got through it.
Yeah, I can tell you're a tough guy.
Used to be.
Yeah, you are right in this moment. I mean, you're pushing through what may be the pain of the emotions, the memory, the things that you've lost, and those things that you've gained. And sometimes I can cry because I'm grateful that I was able to overcome something. I'm also a cancer survivor. So I'm like, I think back and I was like, no, I don't want to do it. No. And I really fought it. I mean, I'm like, I am not going there. I don't want to deal with it. And I pushed it off so long until I went to the surgeon, and he went, if you walk out of my office without an appointment, then you can never come back. But you will be my next surgery that I perform, you will be on the table. And I was like, he's really serious. I was like, this is really serious. I didn't take it seriously because I was like denying it and trying to push it away. Everybody deals differently, of course.
Very much
So your way was to draw on a lot of the discipline, and you've used that term, you're like mental. You had to condition your mind and condition yourself mentally. And that's what I'd like for you to draw a picture of. As a boxer, and we will do Knockout Cancer, but as a boxer, getting ready to go into the ring, can you like take me behind the scenes with you and tell me, what's it like? What are the thoughts? What are the feelings? What's going on in your head? What's it like in the ring? What does it look all around you? What's happening? What are you thinking? How's it look and feel?
So when you're in the preparation, a proper training camp is minimum 8 weeks training camp. So you're running, hitting the bag, long 2-hour sessions, jumping rope, a lot of physical strenuous activity. And then as a boxer, you try to compete at a lower weight, so you're cutting weight, you're reducing the calorie intake, so life is not fun. And
No.
then a lot of times my training camps are away from home. I have a training camp in New York and Florida, overseas, so you're away from your family, and you do all this for 30 minutes of competition.
It's like me. I'll cook for 2 days for a half hour at the table.
Yeah.
No, but I think yours is a little more intense.
You travel overseas. I've competed overseas a few times. And you travel and you wonder, why in the heck am I doing this to possibly go get knocked out and injured and hurt? And the thing about boxing that is so intriguing and so satisfying is having your hands raised. I competed over 300 times for a trophy, not for money, just for a trophy, for a ribbon, for a plaque, just to put my name on top of somebody else's on the ranking. But to do all that just for a trophy, or even my biggest payday as a pro was $15,000. And then I only came home with $4,000 of it because the government takes it, the promoter takes it, your cut man takes it, everybody takes it. So There's a lot of money in boxing, but it doesn't go to the boxers.
So you're definitely, you said I'm doing it to get my hand up. Does that mean you're like proclaimed the winner?
Yes.
That happens right in the ring?
Yes.
And they take who takes the referee?
The referee. Well,
Takes your hand?
There's 3 judges around the ring. They score your bout to see who wins, who lands more shots, more aggressor, more ring generalship, and they give their opinion whether or not you win.
You can't calculate how well you're doing because it's up to them. So you just you have to keep on telling yourself, like, you've got this, man, you're doing it. What was your mantra? What did you say to yourself?
Well, like I've said earlier, never give up. I mean, because it's not an option, and you've invested 8 weeks of your life away from family and friends, not eating the good stuff.
Right.
You have to, and you're investing in yourself to be the best you can be. And why would you give up after 8 weeks?
Right.
Or 10 rounds? You don't want to give up. And there's part of the coaching that we do, or the training that we do, is getting into the trenches, and you go instead of a 3-round or a 3-minute round, you go 10-minute round, just to try to put yourself in that position where life sucks. You're sweating, you're hurt, you're in pain, but you can't give up.
Wow.
I broke my hand before, and you still keep competing because the boxing match isn't over yet.
Yeah. Oh, it's not a fight.
Yeah.
But it feels like it is.
Yeah.
Life sometimes feels like a fight. And I like what you're doing. You're parlaying your life experience, and now you're helping others. So you've created, I'm assuming it's a non-for-profit foundation.
Correct.
And you call it Knockout Cancer. I mean, that's just brilliant. I just want to say I'm like acknowledging you. How great. Tell us about it.
So my background is boxing, so knockout comes with that. And then I had cancer, and so knockout cancer, they go well together. Yeah. And then the whole idea is behind my fundraisers that sets us apart from, I think, other organizations, is we give the money directly to the recipient. We don't give it to the research, to cancer, to the doctors, to hospitals. We give it directly to them.
And who is them?
Somebody who has cancer.
Okay,
So
help me out.
one of the first years the first year I did the event, the person he used his money to put a roof on his mobile home. The second year we did this, the gentleman wanted to take his family to Secret Santa, or Santa's workshop in Colorado Springs.
Yeah.
He in his interview, he said that's his goal, is to make it to that, and he passed away before we did the event. So the money that we gave his family, they took the trip to Santa's workshop. So, wow.
So people submit videos to you to be recipients of the proceeds that come from the boxing events.
We're an organization, so I should have a system, but I don't. I just pray. I pray about it, and I meet people and hear their story, and I've been in, my job is a retail sales, so I can read the BS. I can tell who really needs it and who wants it. I pray about it, and people who are trying to fight and not let cancer win, that's who I pick. And then I've got friends who do videos of them to share their story. And I share it on social media that's to market the event and try to raise money for the recipients.
I'm going to come to the event.
I would love to have you there.
I'm really believing in what you're doing, and I'll tell you why. Because I met you randomly in a store, and you said yes to me. You saw something, like you have some inner guide that it's no bullshit. I wasn't bullshitting you. I was like, I really like your story. I think it's important. I want people to know. I want people to know that they have something inside them that you also have cultivated, that they can fight, or they can bounce back, or they can beat it, or they can find their way. And that is You really represent all of that. And I want to say how honored I am and how grateful I am that you said yes to me. You're like, okay, whoever you are, I'll be there. And then you couldn't even find your way, and you called and left a message, and I was in the studio, and you stopped in another location to ask how to get to the studio. Like, you really persisted and you pursued.
Most important gift you can give somebody is time. And you gave me the time to share my story. And that's the least I could do, to show you the respect and showing up and giving you time back.
And thank you for showing up. I really appreciate it. Wow, we really got to learn and feel a lot. And so make sure your prayers count, as each one matters. And thank you so much for being with us. There is information on the screen so that you can go to the website. There's a telephone number, and you can call that number. And it's on May 31st in Fort Collins, and it begins at 1 o'clock, but the doors open earlier. So get there and get in to feel good. It's very reasonably priced. The tickets are like $35, $40. And it's all going to someone who could use a lift up in the world. We all can use a little lift up. I hope today was an inspiration for you. I want to thank you so much for being with us. Subscribe to the Sterling Spin. Hit that bell for notification, because every Sunday we have a new show. You never know what you're going to get here, but you know it's going to be something that's going to touch your heart and make a difference. I'm Liz Sterling. Thank you for being with us for this edition of the Sterling Spin. Until next time.